Have you ever felt trapped? Like the life you desperately want to escape has its claws dug so deep there's no way out? For Hannah, that feeling was all too real. She wasn't just in a complicated relationship. She was in love with Jihoon, the heir to the most powerful and ruthless Mafia family in Seoul. She thought she could just walk away, start over, and leave the world of shadows and secrets behind. But the past, especially one written in blood and loyalty, never really lets you go. Hannah met Jihoon, not in a dimly lit back room, but in a sun-drenched art gallery. It wasn't the menacing figure she'd later come to know. It was charming, intelligent, with a smile that could disarm anyone. He spoke about art with a passion that seemed at odds with his family's brutal business. For a while, their life was a beautiful lie. They had quiet mornings, secret dates in places where no one knew his name, and whispered promises of a future far away from the violence that funded their lifestyle. Hannah allowed herself to believe in that future. She saw the man, not the monster. But the illusion couldn't last. The whispers turned into screams. The quiet nights were shattered by urgent phone calls and the metallic smell of blood on his clothes when he came home late. Jihoon's father, the cold and calculating head of the family, saw Hannah not as a partner for his son, but as a weakness, loose end. He started making it clear, in subtle and not so subtle ways, that she didn't belong. The pressure mounted, and the beautiful dream became a waking nightmare. The breaking point came one rain-slicked night. Hannah witnessed something she was never meant to see, a deal gone wrong, a betrayal settled with swift, merciless finality. In that moment, the man she loved vanished, replaced by the cold, efficient heir she had always feared. The love in his eyes was gone, replaced by a chilling emptiness. She knew then that she had to run, not just for her sanity, but for her life. So she did. She packed a single bag, taking only cash and a few sentimental items, and disappeared into the sprawling anonymity of Seoul. She changed her name, found a mundane job in a small cafe, and cut off all contact with her old life. For a few blissful months, it worked. The constant fear began to fade, replaced by the simple rhythm of a normal life. She made friends, she laughed, and for the first time in years, she felt a glimmer of hope. She started to believe she had actually done it. She had escaped. But the Korean Mafia, the Kampe, have a long memory and an even longer reach. They are built on a foundation of order, and Hannah's disappearance was a loose thread they couldn't tolerate. Jihoon, torn between his duty and the ghost of the woman he loved, was ordered by his father to find her. Not to bring her back into his life, but to silence her. Permanently. The secret she carried the knowledge of their operations, their faces, their crimes, was a threat that had to be eliminated. The hunt began. Hoon's top enforcer, a man known only as the Shadow, was dispatched. He was a legend in the underworld, a relentless tracker who never failed. Slowly, methodically, he started closing in. A credit card slip she thought was untraceable. A chance encounter with an old acquaintance who was later questioned. The net began to tighten around Hannah's new fragile world. She started noticing things. The same black sedan parked down her street for 3 days in a row. A man at the cafe who watched her a little too closely. The feeling of being followed returned, more intense than ever. Panic set in. The quiet life she had built was crumbling, revealing the terrifying reality she had tried so hard to outrun. She was still a prisoner, just in a larger cage. One evening, as she was closing the cafe, the bell on the door chimed. It was him, not the Shadow, but Jihoon himself. He looked different than her, his eyes haunted. The charm was gone, replaced by a heavy weariness. He didn't come with threats or violence. He came with a warning. He told her his father had given the order. The Shadow was coming for her, and he wouldn't stop. He couldn't stop him, not directly. But he could give her a head start. In that tense, whispered conversation, the old connection between them sparked, however briefly. He wasn't just the heir anymore. He was the man who once loved her, trying to save her from the world that was devouring him. He gave her a new identity, a bag of cash and a cryptic instruction about a boat leaving from the port of Busan. It was a desperate, dangerous gamble. Was he truly helping her? Or was this just a more elaborate trap? Trusting him was a risk, but staying was certain death. Hana took the chance. The journey to Busan was a blur of paranoia. Every face in the crowd seemed like a threat, every siren a signal of her capture. She felt the shadow's presence everywhere, a cold breath on her neck. She knew he was close. She made it to the chaotic, sprawling port of Busan just as the sun was setting. She found the designated pier, her heart pounding in her chest. The boat was there, a small, rusty fishing trawler. It looked anything but safe, but it was her only hope. As she was about to board, a figure emerged from the darkness. Oh, it was the shadow. He wasn't the brute she expected. He was quiet, unassuming, his eyes holding no malice, only professional resolve. He didn't draw a weapon. He simply said her old name, his voice calm. Jihoon's father is not a man who forgives, he stated, but Jihoon is his father's son. He learned loyalty. But he also learned love from you. In that moment, Hana understood. The entire chase, the head start, it was a charade, performance for Jihoon's father. The shadow continued, Jihoon sent me to find you, and I have. My report will say you were on this boat when it had an unfortunate accident at sea. You were lost. The matter is closed. He then turned and walked away, disappearing back into the shadows from which he came. Hana was frozen. It wasn't a trap, and it wasn't a simple act of love. It was a sacrifice. To save her, Jihoon had to kill her in the eyes of his world. He had to sever their connection forever, using the very system that sought to destroy her. He had to prove his ultimate loyalty to his family by orchestrating her disappearance while secretly ensuring her survival. As the trawler pulled away from the shore, Hana looked back at the glittering lights of a country she could never call home again. She was free, but her freedom had come at an unimaginable cost. Jihoon was now trapped more than ever, forced to live a lie, forever mourning a woman who was still alive. She had escaped the Korean Mafia, but she would never truly escape the memory of the man who sacrificed his own soul to let her go. Her new life was a gift from him, a life built on the ashes of their love. And that was a secret she would have to carry alone for the rest of her days.